Fashion is a form of self-expression, a way for people to make their identities, preferences, affiliations, and maybe prejudices known to the world. But when did this all start? And why has it remained a thing that a lot of people care about today? Well, to answer the first question, a 2003 data analysis looked at the evolution of lice DNA. You see, there are two types of lice in question, head lice and body lice. These two critters are strict obligate human ectoparasites, which is a fancy way of saying that they can only live on humans and nowhere else. Body lice, as the name suggests, feed on the body but live in human clothes, whereas head lice live and feed exclusively on the scalp. This led scientists to theorize that when humans started wearing clothes, head lice had a new place for them to safely attach and lay their eggs, since previously our naked skin was too smooth for them to do that. This made head lice eventually diverge and to become their own species, which is what we now call body lice. So by using a molecular clock to estimate when exactly these two species diverged, we could pinpoint exactly when wearing clothes became more common. Well, what were the results? By saving you from all this sciencey jargon, using this theory, they estimated that humans had started wearing clothes around 72,000 years ago, give or take 42,000 years, which actually makes so much sense, because that's exactly around the time modern humans, or gay sapiens, had started branching out of the African continent and moving into much cooler climates, leading to the necessity for clothes to keep warm. But what had started as a matter of protecting oneself against nature's elements has turned into a matter of self-expression and artistry. How come? Before reaching its final form, fashion was a way for people to announce to the world their status in society, as people of higher status dressed very differently from how the peasants dressed, and it would also be a way for people to make clear many things about their identity other than class, like gender and religious affiliation, just like how a Sikh person, well, this kind of Sikh, would wear a dastar, or a Muslim woman would wear a hijab. And like all bad things, fashion as we know it today started in the Western world, where in medieval times, as global trade for goods was becoming more widespread, guilds were responsible for tailoring clothes, meaning they would be in charge of what everyone can ever hope to wear, which basically made them the fashion designers of their time. Next came industrialism, which rendered the guild system completely obsolete, since it gave rise to very advanced technology, such as the sewing machine. And the development of factories and retail outlets like clothing stores all made Westerns go from having clothes custom made from a tailor to mass production of clothing in standard sizes and at fixed prices. This made the western part of the world the biggest influence on fashion all around the freaking globe, yo! And since then, Westerns have been using all kinds of media as ways of sneezing their fashion influence on the rest of the world. One kind of it is printed media. Advertising fashion in printed media has been a thing since olden times. Ever since the 16th century, the French court's fashion had been publicized in prints for the poor peasants to gawk at, which even sprung up the term the Louis XIV style, who was the reigning monarch at the time. Then later on, fashion magazines became a thing, which had an even bigger effect in popularizing fashion. But nothing of the olden days can even compare to how influential social media is today, as it takes literal seconds to peek at any kind of style from any part of the world and from any kind of person. This makes clothing play a more psychological role than ever before, since in most parts of the world, people can dress up however they want, no matter their class or status, without facing any repercussions, and it's much more accessible to do so, making dressing up an easy way for people to boost their confidence. A series of 5 studies by Columbia University social psychologists on the cognitive consequences of formal clothing concluded that dressing up makes people feel and seem more powerful. Subjects in formal clothing spoke more abstractly and less concretely. For example, instead of describing mechanical actions like saying, "I'll lock the door," they'd use intentional speech by saying, "I'll secure the house." When subjects dressed informally, they felt, acted, spoke, and thought differently, and others responded according to those signals regardless of their upbringings. Of course, this goes way beyond just formal and informal attire, and into the entire scope of fashion. That is why nowadays, a lot of people wear their clothes based on their personality, and they consider the way they dress as part of their identity because of it. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, consider subscribing and maybe watching this video next.